welcome to this army overview and Tactica for Skitarii. I finally reached 1850 points. The completion of the army was the Imperial Knight. That was the last unit I had to get finished, and then that has completed the Skitarii up to 1850 points. So really exciting times when a new army is finished to be used on both of the channels. We've played a few games of Skitarii. They are available on both the channels. We've sort of done some smaller point games with them, and they have performed pretty good so far, but really feeling they did need that Imperial Knight to finish them off. Haven't used them in a game yet at 1850 points, so it'll be interesting to test them against the different armies that are already on the channel. So it's a new force, new faction on both the channels, and they've got a point to prove. So very, very excited about using them. I enjoy using them, and James enjoys using them very much indeed as well. So I think I'm going to share using them in different games. But finally, they are put together. So in this video, I'm going to run through the codex and then gradually build this army up. So you'll see the different units I've gone for, different options and choices. We'll talk about the whole army philosophy and the Tactica that I'm going to use or plan to use in games. Sort of tried it out in the smaller battles. It seems to have worked well. So you'll get an idea of the overall battle plan with these, and then sort of the unit breakdown as well is what we're going to look at. And then we'll stand back, take a look at the whole army on display, and then it'll give you a visual idea of how the army will look, and then talk about the overall army plan and strategy with that. Just to mention, I do a grand strategies video for Skitarii. That's over on the Plus channel. That's where I go a bit deeper into unit choices and Tactica, and then we zoom out and then take a look at sort of some in-game scenarios, sort of lay out a 6x4 table, and then look at a few turns of a game and sort of propose how the army can be used and how it can react in different situations. So for more of a tactical look at the new army, then check out the Plus channel for that video, and then all the other exclusive content on there as well. So it's Skitarii here, and then it's Imperial Knights as well. It is a Skitarii army, then I'm taking an Imperial Knight single unit as a detachment to add in to the Skitarii force. So that was the theme. I wanted an Imperial Knight, trying to think of how to incorporate it into the different armies on the channel. I was doing Skitarii at the same time, and I thought, well, it'd be a good idea to do an Imperial Knight with a sort of AdMech theme, a nice red colour scheme, and then have it as the central part to the Skitarii, and have the Skitarii sort of protecting it. You know how they sort of worship machines and protect them and maintain them. Well, it sort of made sense to have an Imperial Knight and then a Skitarii force as like a bodyguard. So that's the idea. We'll come to Imperial Knights last. It's the last unit I added in, and that will finish the army off. We'll look primarily at Skitarii to start off with. So we'll talk a little bit about theme and sort of the colour scheme and choices I went for with this faction. So maybe you don't collect Skitarii. I think they are a very nice army indeed to collect. Very fragile, a lot of fine parts on them. I think they're not hard to paint, not easy to paint, sort of in between, sort of for painting skills. So I think that it's an army that's not vast in size, so we can make it pretty big if you want to. Sort of medium-sized army, medium difficulty for model making as well. So maybe if you start off with sort of a basic type army, maybe Necrons that are quite easy to paint, or Tyranids, and then you want to try something else, something totally different, then Skitarii may well be a good idea. Maybe you don't want to collect regular Space Marines, Imperial Guard, you want something different, but something Imperial, then maybe Skitarii is a good idea. So the artwork's fantastic. My inspiration for colour scheme was just the front cover. Love the red, the white, and the metal work, and then this electric blue colour is really, really nice as well. So I wanted just to copy that. The moment I saw it, it looked really nice. There's plenty of other options you can do, and again, you can go for your own colour scheme if you want. There it is, just there. I narrowly missed out on going for the cracked earth effect. I think that does look really nice, does suit this colour scheme very well, but I went for my regular grey for these. So there's the artwork. That's the Mars colour scheme. It does give you some here in the book. Just flick through. They are again, this is glowing sort of electric colour. I do like that. So there's Mars. Looks quite nice. There's a slight variation, didn't go for all of this cream here. For painting tutorials, a regular Skitarii painting tutorial is available on the channel here. That's where I paint up one of the Skitarii Rangers, so I'll show you step by step how to paint that, using the usual process that I use for the armies on the channel. And then an in-depth painting tutorial, paint up one of the Honour Guard Dune Crawlers, and that's a bigger, longer tutorial, more challenging one, but a cover painting something larger like a vehicle. That's over on the Plus channel. So that's the painting tutorials that are available for that. If you like the look of the army, then you can tune into those painting tutorials. And then for the Imperial Knight as well, when you see it, there's an in-depth painting tutorial for that on the Plus channel as well. So Styges, Gratia here, sort of a deeper red. Black looks quite cool. Orange is quite different. Riser, Metallica here in white. So, but just like the traditional sort of Mars colour scheme, that's what I wanted to go for. So that's the colours just there. Okay. So, thought about going for a Skitarii maniple, where you can just go for 2 troops. There's no real HQ choices in this. Your leader is just one of the characters from one of the units you take as your warlord. 2 troops at the minimum, and then you get some benefits there. You get Crusader and Scout. But what I went for, the structure of this army, is a formation, and it is the Skitarii battle maniple. So the whole Skitarii army is just a battle maniple, which I think is nice simplicity to that, which sort of matches the theme. It's a mechanical sort of theme, disciplined, organised, but like a Roman legion. So you don't want multiple small formations all over the place, just one battle maniple. I think it was a good idea. So, and it sort of had the units that I wanted in it. Because if you look through the codex, there's not many units to choose from. It's a limited number of units, a couple of troops, a couple of elite, a couple of fast, and a couple of heavy, and then that's it. So for being so limited, I wanted to have pretty much one of each unit type, just to keep the variety. I didn't want to spam units out. I wanted to have a nice representation of all the different unit types, and that's what a battle maniple does. So you have to take a unit of Vanguard, Rangers, Rust Stalkers, Infiltrators, Dragoons, or Ballistarii. Now, I misread this here. I thought I couldn't do this formation because you have to take Dragoons and Ballistarii. That's what I thought, but it's not. It's one or the other. So I was able to fulfill that, and then 1 unit of Dune Crawlers as well. And if you go for that, you get reroll Warlord traits, which is okay, and the Warlord has preferred enemy as well. There's a little bonus there. But then you get data lock. Models from this formation within 12 inches of Honour Guard Dune Crawler are leadership 10. That's pretty good. It really helps out with morale. And then tireless advance. All models in this formation have Crusader, which is a pretty good rule, and then Scout special rules as well. Units from this formation cannot outflank due to their Scout special rule, but can do so as a result of a different special rule, such as infiltrate or a mission special rule. So some decent abilities there for free, just because you're taking that formation, which I think is a nice balanced formation of a nice mix of units. All of them get Scout and Crusader, so which I thought was pretty good. That's what I went for. So we go to the first, take it in order here. So go to the first unit. In the grand strategies video, actually write the list out, lay out the exact points, so you can see the exact list on that. But I'll just sort of call out the units and upgrades here as we go through. Okay, so first unit is Skitarii Vanguard. 55 points for 5 of them. I upgraded them to take another 5, so it's a unit of 10. Full strength. I wanted to go for full strength with these. And again, we'll zoom out later on and take a look at the whole army, but there they are. So, there's the leader, and then there's a couple more. It's quite a nice size when there's 10 of them. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's them just there. So that comes with an alpha, the leader there. So leadership 9, they'll be leadership 10 if they're within 12 inches of the Dune Crawler, and they'll probably be within range of that. They're there to protect sort of the more backline sort of units. They're going to be keeping up with the Dune Crawlers, protecting them. So they're sort of a counter fire type unit. I've taken 10 so that there's regular vanguard there that can absorb casualties and be taken out, and then to protect the assets of the unit, which is twofold. There's melee ability here with the alpha here, we'll cover his weapons in a moment, and then also some pretty nasty shooting ability here with the 2 vanguards here. They're equipped with the plasma calibers. So I went for plasma calibers, not enough points for omnispecs. I'm afraid, just checking my list, yeah, I haven't got those, which would have been -1 cover, but I did go for the plasma caliber, which is a pretty good weapon. It is just here. So it's range 18. So it's something counter-attack, you know, if unit gets too close, range 18, but it's strength 7, AP 2, and assault 3 gets hot. So there's danger you're going to die, but you can let off a pretty good volley before you do. Right, so assault 3, so 3 shots. And with the ability of Skitarii to bump up their ballistic skill pretty high, it's going to be reliable shooting if you need it. Remember, when 2 of these, there's going to be 6 shots from these guys, strength 7, AP 2. They, playing against Blood Angels, unit deep strike down, a sanguinary guard, and these guys did horrendous damage to them. So it's that kind of monstrous creature, Terminators, Space Marines turning up, getting too close, then these can fire at them. And then with their protection in front, they can absorb a fair amount of damage before they're totally wiped out. And you get through to the main weapons just there. So nice bit of anti-shooting ability from them as well. If they do need to saturate a unit with firepower, full strength, these guys are 3 shots each, I believe, so that's pretty good as well. Radium carbine, it's range 18, so the range matches up nicely with the caliber. Strength 3, AP 5, but it's rad poisoning, rolls off 6, cause 2 wounds, regardless of toughness. So again, very multi-function with them. Not too bad, but the more rounds you can get off, the better. That's why I've gone for a large unit, just to let off tons of shots with them. So there's that ability as well, and then also the ability to fight in close combat. First point is they're relentless, so they can fire their weapons and then they can charge, which is pretty effective. And then the alpha, if you look here, it does come with 2 attacks here as standard. And then if you give him a pistol or melee weapon, he's going to get 3 attacks, 4 attacks on the charge. So for the pistol, I went for the Phosphor Blast pistol. Here, it's range 12, strength 5, AP 4. Lumin again. If he causes a wound, then their cover save drops by -1, which is pretty helpful. So you sort of fire him first, try and cause a casualty, and let the others fire, and then it's -1 off the opponent's cover save. And then for close combat, I think the best weapon is the Arc Maul. Here, it's +2 strength, it becomes strength 5, it's AP 4, so it's a pretty decent weapon, but it's fantastic. It's haywire as well, so you can haywire any type of vehicle you want. You get locked in combat against some dreadnought, you're able to fight back pretty effectively here with haywire attacks, you know, regardless of armour. It's going to be 2s to cause hull point, 6s will be penetrating hits. So they're not a unit that's going to blow other units away, but supporting fire, supporting melee, unit for mopping up targets or reducing targets down, softening them up. I think these are pretty effective and not too expensive. There will be times when they just get blown away, ambushed and taken out, but they're not the primary units for the army, so not too fussed about that, but a decent enough unit. I think they're pretty good. And that came in at 185 points. It was the calibers there at 30 points each, made them a bit more expensive, but I've kept them under 200 points and a pretty helpful unit, full strength there at 10 models. So that's them. Then continue on the formation. Had to go for unit of Rangers. I wanted to bulk the army out with some decent infantry units. So same philosophy again, a unit of 10. Now these are sort of longer range with their weaponry, but the idea remained the same, and that was to have a bodyguard of regular rangers here to absorb the damage and the hits, and to lend some fire support, but the main point of these was to protect these. Now switching weapons here to the arc rifles, I think they're called, and then also the leader there as well. So full strength unit of 10. You can see your ranks now, a couple of ranks of of infantry. I think looks pretty cool. 65 points, so 5 of them including the alpha, and then 11 points each to add 5 more regular rangers on top. That made them 120. Then for the leader, same combination, a different combination here. The arc maul, which I think is very effective. So that's another unit with the haywire ability here. So they should be able to breeze through vehicles, no problem. And then giving him an arc pistol, so he will be able to fire a haywire pistol shot as well. It's slightly more expensive, it's 10 points. But strength 6 AP5 is pretty good. So, he's relentless. He can fire the pistol, maybe cause a whole point there, and then finish off the target vehicle with the haywire arc maul there as well. So I think decent weaponry. But then, on top of that, a bit of long range anti-vehicle ability here. A couple of arc rifles. Range 24, strength 6 AP5, and then rapid fire haywire. So, nice anti-vehicle unit here, and an anti any type of infantry as well. The rifle there is pretty good. It is a galvanic rifle, it's range 30, so nice long range. Strength 4, AP4, which is pretty good. Rapid fire, and then precision shots as well. So you can sort of pick out certain models as well. You've got a tactical squad, there's a rocket launcher, missile launcher in there. Pick it out with precision shots with these rifles here, for example. So that's that. Rapid fire, but again, these guys are relentless, so they'll be able to rapid fire the targets and charge as well. That came to 175 points. So not holding back here and spending out on these. It's bulking out 2 decent sized units there and expecting them to support the army. Mostly with shooting, and then mopping up duty in close combat as well. A bit of a body, two units that are fitted out, and they're protecting the leader and the 2 weapons I've paid out for, and then the other models act as a bodyguard to absorb damage. You sort of have to concede that when you're building an army, you're thinking, right, where's the damage going to come from? To be realistic, you want to be able to protect the high valued stuff. I'm conceding the fact I'm probably going to take a fair amount of casualties with these, so I want to try and keep the expensive part of the unit alive, and then the rest is expendable. That's sort of the idea behind them. So nicely bulked out, and then a nice selection here. The 2 infantry units represented in the army as well, so happy with that. That's troops. Next is elites here, so I'm going to push these back. There's one, and push those back as well. I've not even seen this army together yet, so it'd be nice to pull it all together. So on to elites here. When I first started putting the army together, I thought I'd go for a shooting army. That's what Skitarii are renowned for, their ability to shoot at very high ballistic skill. But I was watching some battle reports. There's not many battle reports out there, but I watched a few, and they were contacted in combat, or needed to charge and get into combat a number of times in different games and scenarios. So I thought, well, yes, I want to have shooting as an aspect, part of the army, but I'm not going to have it so that it's got no defence, no ability in close combat. So I started looking at the combat units here. The Rush Stalkers and the Infiltrators as well, and I think they could be very effective in close combat as well. So I'm going to go, there's going to be 2 parts to the army. It's going to be some great shooting ability, but also a very aggressive combat force as well. I think it will need to be, to survive and to have any chance against the other better armies, they need to be able to fight in combat, I think. So I've gone for a unit of Rush Stalkers. So just bring them on. Now I had planned a unit of 5, bought 2 boxes, and it was 5 in each, unit of 5 for each. But after watching the battle reports and after a couple of games we played, I soon began to realise that 5 just wasn't quite effective enough. Again, thinking of, they are going to take damage in the game, and you lose 2 or 3 of these and suddenly the unit's not very effective at all. So I've bumped these up to a bigger unit of 8. I bought another box set and then gave 2 to the Infiltrators, and I have 3 to this unit just here. So just going to bring in these other models. like so. So you have 8 of them. So then in a game, you take some pretty heavy damage, you lose 3 of them, instead of only having 2 left. I've still got a pretty effective fighting unit left of 5. And it's paid off in a couple of games that we've played, having a larger unit of them. So Rush Stalkers, it's 160 points for 5 of them. This is an expensive unit here. And then bumping it up to 8 makes them 250 points. So you're matching them against like a well-equipped Terminator squad. And then the combination for these that I went for is the keeping the standard loadout, which is a transonic razor and the cord claw and mine scrambler grenades as well. I'll just look these up here just to explain why. So the transonic razor here, there's no bonuses to it, it's just AP5, it is a melee, but you get transonic. And make an attack with weapon as a special roll, any to win roll 6 will automatically win the target regardless of toughness. So whatever they're fighting against. In addition, during the first round of a close combat, to any wound rolls of 6 are AP2, and then all subsequent rounds of close combat, all wounds resolved at AP2. So as they adjust to the armour of the opponent. So they're good for getting stuck in, I think, and against anything, Terminators, whatever. They're pretty, or can be pretty effective. But again, really felt I needed them to be able to absorb damage and not lose. And if they lose models, still have the ability to fight back. So that was that. Then the cord claw here, again, is a melee weapon, so it's going to be +1 for their attacks. That's transonic as well, and then also this one comes with molecular dissonance. When a model equipped with a cord claw makes its close combat attacks, one of its attacks will be a dissonance attack. So roll it separately. It has the fleshbanes, has 2s to wound, and again, pretty helpful against the nastiest of monstrous creatures and so on. So pretty happy with that combination. And then what also made these pretty good was they came with mine scrambler grenades, which is you can throw it, causes neural trauma. You always roll, it's a blast weapon, you always win on a 4+. It's AP4, so it's not a bad grenade at all. And it's always to wound on a 4, so you can throw it against anything that's a 4+ to wound. And it's haywire. So in assault, you get haywire grenades as well for the unit. So I think that's pretty good. Now the other option was to take 2 transonic blades. That's what I had originally, that's how I modelled them, but I've since cut some of the arms and put razors on them and the core claws, because with the blade you get +1 strength, but you lose out on the transonic razor, so you don't get that 2+ to wound attack, and you lose your mine scrambler grenades, which I thought was devastating. Yeah, so you have to lose all of that, so I just didn't see the value in doing that. So kept it at the standard loadout. Now it says here that the Princeps can take a prehensile data spike. It's 10 points, I did go for that. That is just here. It's a haywire attack. Now I think it means that all of his attacks can be haywire, and again they find themselves needing to charge in against a land raider. They've only got haywire grenades, it's only 1 attack with that, can throw it once, place it once, but now the leader can make his attacks with haywire. He gets 3 attacks, 1 for weapons, 1 for charging. All of a sudden he could take out a land raider single-handedly. So I thought it was well worth the points doing that. So I did give them a data spike. It makes the unit 260 points. I'm expecting them to take out a couple of units in a game, a couple of key vehicles, to be pretty effective in close combat. 5 of them I think would have struggled, but I think 8 is pretty good. They're 2 wounds each. They're a bit vulnerable to instant death. Their armor save is not fantastic, it's 4+, but I think a fair amount of the time I think they should do pretty well. Okay, so that's them. The next unit I went for is Infiltrators. And again, I had planned on taking a unit of 5. Then again, I saw a battle report where a player had more of these and they looked really cool, taking a bigger unit. You sort of deep strike them in, or infiltrate them in, sort of landed them like this, they look pretty good. they look better as a larger unit. So infiltrators 185 points, and then to boost them up is 255 points because they're 35 points a time. And again, sort of similar stat line to these: 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 4 up save. But infiltrate and stealth for these, and they do have a shooting ability as well. Combination I went for is how you see them here in the book, which is not the stud carbine and power sword, but instead I swapped them out to take flechette blasters and taser goads. So flechette blasters is here, range 12, strength 2, burst pistol and shred. So shred's reroll wounds, it's only strength 2, but it's 5 shots each. So you've got 35 shots here. And again, with Skitarii, if they have a very high ballistic skill on a certain turn, you could pepper the opponent with a ton of shots there. So a bit of a surprise shooting attack ability from them. And then, you know, often you're going to be on 5s to wound, 6s to wound, but you're getting rerolls with tons of dice. Can actually cause a fair bit of damage. That's not their primary method. They're then equipped with the taser goad for close combat. And again, shooting, combat ability with these. Yeah, taser goad. It's +2 strength. So now these guys are on strength 4, +2 strength 6. So nice high strength for them. Light vehicles, any vehicle with rear armor 10 or 11 is in big trouble against these. And then taser, we're making an attack with a weapon as a special rule. Any 6s to hit cause additional 2 hits on the target. So a 6 to hit is going to cause 3 hits in total. And then remember, you're going to be rolling about 30 odd attacks of these. You're going to get a nice amount of 6s, and again just shower the target with loads of hits. So they're up against unit terminators. They can chuck out loads of pistol shots, maybe bring 1 or 2 down, then charge into combat, chuck out loads and loads of taser goad, high strength attacks with those, and then force your opponent to make loads of saves. Failing a few, potential there's pretty good. But again, you know, unit here, if it was just a unit of 5 and you lose a few, could be in trouble. You lose 2 or 3, you've still got a pretty effective unit. So I'm expecting both these two units to take out 1 target, survive, take some damage, take out a 2nd target, and then anything's a bonus from then on. That's the idea of these, and to be able to fight in combat against pretty much anything, I think, for both of these units. So invested the points in them, and I think they'll do okay, these here. So my elites section's pretty well bulked out. Remember, Crusader here for all of this, pretty helpful. Scout as well with all of these. So the overall army philosophy, I think, is to fight as one. So they're to stick together and help each other out. So these can shoot, soften up the target, they can charge in, that kind of thing, protecting each other, helping each other out, pairing up. Like they can, unit terminators, these can bring down half the squad with their calibers, they can then charge in, mop up the rest, that kind of philosophy. So the maniple fights together and is articulate, it can turn and face and react to whatever, any type of situation it comes up against. That's sort of the overall philosophy for them. So then moving on to fast attack here, I chose, instead of Ballistarii, I went for Sidonian Dragoons here. So this was sort of at the point where I'd chosen most of the units and what strength they'd be, so I had some spare points left. So I've gone for a small unit of Dragoons, just 2 of them, 1 and 2. They're quite a bizarre looking model, they're quite a presence on the table. But I've gone for unit 2. I will put them just here. So they're quite a presence on the table, extremely cheap. You see how their footprint on the table there, only 45 points a time, so it's 90 points for 2 of them. They've got a nice amount of attacks, and they come with the Taser Lance. Remember, they're at strength 5 in close combat. And then here, the Taser Lance is +3 strength on the charge, so they're at strength 8 on the charge. So again, vehicles of almost any type are in trouble against these. So that's the idea for these. Just a quick, you've got some vehicle rushing towards you, move these out quickly, in in front of you to make a shield to charge in and potentially take the vehicle out, whatever it may be, but it's expendable. You know, if these die, it's only 45 points each, so it's not a major loss if they have to do a suicide charge into the advancing opponent's force. So a bit of a roadblock type unit with these. Or I can use them to scout around flanks. Their vehicles not be affected by melee. I can hold them back, hide them, keep them in reserve, use them for sitting on objectives later on in the game. So that's the idea with them. Not too bad, they're quite durable. Got an incense cloud, 5+ cover save wherever they go, and they get armor 11 as well, the front and side as well, I believe, and rear. So they're not bad at all. So that's it. I didn't pay out any bonuses for them, no shooting ability with those, so just 90 points for them, and just plan, as I've discussed earlier, that's how I plan to use them. Just sort of scouts here, but usually we'll keep them quite near the battle maniple. So that's them. I'm going to move these out of the way. Next is quite a focal point to the army. So you've got our elites, combat, scouting ability, troops, all quite nicely balanced. So heavier firepower now is what we're going to move on to next, the heavy support choice options. So this is the controversial point. A lot of people have left comments saying we've gone for the wrong option here, but I've gone for Honor Guard Dune Crawlers, and I've equipped them in a pretty non-orthodox way, but it's to meet a specific need. I felt that ground level shooting, I've got my short range shooting covered pretty well, I think, and then I've got my close combat ability covered pretty well. So I'm now thinking of long range shooting and then a specific type as well, and that's anti-flyer. I want to be able to control the skies. I don't have any flyers to use from the codex, so I've got to use anti-aircraft Dune Crawlers, and then so Skyfire, but it means I can shoot at things like jet bikes and skimmers, swooping, gliding monstrous creatures as well. So there's a fair range to their ability to shoot, and with Skyfire, this is an Imperial Army. It's not very often they're going to be up against other sort of ground force type armies like Imperial Guard, Space Marines. Quite rare they're going to be fighting against them, but fighting against Xenos armies, Dark Eldar, Harlequins, Tyranids, those armies do have a fair amount of flyers, skimmers, jet bikes and so on. So I think they will often have a fair amount of targets that they can choose to shoot at. So I'll bring the models out. Controversial for a number of reasons. Perhaps first of all is the size. I've gone for a full strength unit here, a 3. So this is a squadron here of Honor Guard Dune Crawlers. It's quite an anchor point at the back of the army. So remember the formation, anyone within 10, this is quite a big sphere of influence for these. Anyone within 10 inches will be leadership 10 of these, and they're going to be quite hard to get through them. They're armour front and side of 11, rear armour, or sort of 12, rear armour of 11. They've got 3 hull points, so they're not soft vehicles by any means, a nice sort of medium toughness for these. There's a number of options you can go for. They come with an eradication beamer. Here. I really thought about this. I definitely wanted anti-aircraft to be able to, whatever flyer comes on, or jet bikes, want to be able to deal with them effectively. And I think a full strength unit of 3 of these is the best option. But I went for well, the eradication beamer is 0 to 9 is strength 10 AP1, then 9 to 18 is strength 8 AP3, range 18 to range 36 is strength 5 AP5. Just too variable. The range wasn't too far, so I didn't like the eradication beamer very much at all. You can just see that unit being caught out a number of times where they get shot at by stuff and they're too far away to do any kind of damage. So I didn't like that weapon option. Then I could have gone for a twin-linked heavy phosphor blaster. Heavy phosphor blaster, it's range 36, strength 6 AP3, heavy 3, lumen again, so if you fail a save, it's -1 cover save if other units shoot. So 3 of these would be 9 shots at strength 6 AP3, I just think it's a bit tame. And then again, range 36. Yeah, maybe effective against certain types of units, so against a tactical squad or a Carnifex or something, then yeah, pretty good. But Terminators, virtually useless, pretty much. Flyers, you need snapshots, and then strength 6, not very strong, so just, again, too limited. So I wasn't keen on that either. And I think the ones where, the next option here, which is what people were saying I should go for, is the Neutron Laser and Cognis Heavy Stubber. So you get the two together. This is 25 points. So the Neutron Laser is here. It's range 48, so it had the range that I wanted. Strength 10 AP1, fantastic weapon. Heavy 1, and then Blast. And Concussive. So pretty likely to hit the target with Blast. And Strength 10's AP1's pretty good. But I could just see situations where I fire at a Land Raider, for example. You know, would be their main aim, is to fire at heavy vehicles. The Land Raider's behind cover, which is a good chance it would be. Say I hit with 2, I miss with 1, and then the Land Raider makes a cover save. You've really only then hit with one shot's gone through. Then you need a 4 or more to do any kind of damage, a 5 or a 6 to penetrate, and then you're on the charts. It's sort of, just felt it was a bit tame. I thought there's other units I can use. I can get close with other units to do that damage more effectively with Haywire close combat ability. And then now the Imperial Knight as well. So I wanted these to be on patrol for flyers, skimmers, flying monstrous creatures, that kind of stuff. So I went for the more expensive Icarus array, which is 35 points. So that made the vehicle 125 points. Still pretty cheap. It's not too expensive, just over 100 points. But the Icarus array is pretty amazing, and it's impressed so far in the games that we've done. And one of them's good, but I've tripled it. There's 3 times over this firepower here. So each one comes with a Daedalus missile launch. That's range 48. There's your range. All of these are range 48. Strength 7 AP2 and Skyfire. So nasty missile there. Then the Gatling rocket launcher is range 48. Strength 6 AP4. Heavy 5. So there's 5 shots there. Skyfire and ignores cover. So you've got Fly that jinx. Just going to ignore it. And then also twin-linked, or a twin Icarus autocannon. It is twin-linked, strength 7 AP4, heavy 2, interceptor as well. And the other cool thing is if you intercept with the autocannons, which would be 6 shots twin-linked, you can fire it on target, intercept them, and then on your following shooting phase, you can't fire with the autocannons, but the other weapons that are left on the system, they can fire at the same target, or they can fire at different targets. I can just see situations where, playing against Dark Elder for example, it's got a nasty unit of the jet bikes. They can do all their jinx and so on against other units. These bring them down super effectively. Or a flyer comes on, you can just let rip with everything, or just the autocannons or whatever. So I really think they're going to be pretty effective. So far so good with them. So there's a fair amount of points. So what I did is, there's another bonus as well. If you do take, they come with an Emanatus force field. There's a big bonus here for going for a unit of 3. They all come with a 6+ invuln. Just looking at the rules here. 6+ invuln save. Maybe it's here. Here we go. Field harmonics. A model of this special rule adds 1 to any invuln save it makes for its Emanatus force field for each other model from the same squadron within 4. So if they're all within 4 of each other, they're all going to be on a 4+ invuln save. So suddenly they're toughened up. Half the shots that come in against are going to be ignored. If you lose 1, then 5+ invuln, and then lose the other down to 6+. But I thought that's pretty cool. It's a nice bonus there, and nice incentive for taking 3. And I'm just thinking out loud here. I've only just had this thought. I just want to show you something. Just the tape measure. Say this guy takes the hits. Yeah, look at this. This guy here is more than 4 inches away. If I line them up base to base, 4 inches is to there. So for them to get that 4-inch bubble protection, I need to play them in a game like that, so that whatever angle they're attacked from, each will be within 2 inches of each other, and then granting the 4+ invuln save. If I do that, then it's only going to be a 5+ for these two, 4+ for him because they were in 4. So just a little bit of Tactica there. I need to remember to try and play them like this here for them to be most effective. But they're in a squadron, they can fire through each other, that's not going to be a problem, so just need to remember to do that combination. Now, shooting covered, a specific role for them, but then I've opened up a new or another potential role for them, and that's close combat. If you've got a vehicle, Skitarii vehicle equipment, I went for a Cognus Manipulator. It is expensive, it's 25 points, but I think it's worth it. Just look it up. Yeah, I'm just looking it up here. It says page 77 for vehicle equipment, but it's actually listed in the melee weapons. Here, Cognus Manipulator. So these guys are on strength 5 in combat. The Manipulator makes them strength 10, because times 2 strength. Their attacks become AP 1, so all of a sudden they can fight pretty effectively. I just want to check something. I need to check out this Emanatus force field here. Yeah, so the force field confers a 6+ invuln save, just a blanket invuln. So that means in shooting and in close combat. So now in close combat, the ability to tie something down here. They got a 4+ invuln, that's going to protect them pretty well. And then they fight back, not at strength 5 with 1 attack, but with 1 attack at strength 10 and AP 1. So they could pick apart another vehicle quite effectively, or monstrous creature. So that's that bonus. Then they have field repairs as well. A model equipped with a Cognus Manipulator has It Will Not Die, so they can recover lost hull points also. So if they're in this sort of combination, the lead one takes a bit of damage, then in your movement phase you can do a bit of manoeuvring like this, stick him at the back, and then It Will Not Die can start repairing himself, and then just rotating them around like that, trying to keep themselves alive. Even one that loses all of his weapon systems but is alive, he's granting a bit of protection to the others and a bit of help in close combat as well. So that's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty good unit combination here. So if I need them, they're not primarily for combat, but if I need to call upon them to get into combat some specific situation in the game, then even this unit here has that ability. And then just to walk around on patrol. There may be times when they fire at targets that aren't it's non-skyfire, which means they'll need 6s, it'll be snapshots, but even with the volume of shots they'll still get some hits. So supporting unit in combat and for shooting, I think they'll be pretty good. And then a specific shooting role for them, I think they'll excel. If it's the right target, they should do very well indeed. So you can see that's bulked the army out a lot there. They're a big unit, a big presence on the table. So that's the Honor Guard during crawlers. So 35 point upgrades, 125 points, 25 points to the Cognus Manipulator, they're 150 points a time, which again isn't too bad. You know, for a medium type vehicle that's the normal amount of points, and then combining that together that's 450 points, so they are a pretty heavy investment, but I'm expecting them to be pretty durable. You know, this is 3 hull points each, there's 9 hull points there. They're not open topped, they're armor 12, front and side rear armor is 11, and they've got It Will Not Die as well, and a 4+ invuln. I think that's pretty effective, should be pretty durable for them, so quite happy with that setup for them. So that's the chunk of the army done. I'll move these out of the way. That's that part done. That's each unit type represented. They're pretty good, apart from the Skitarii. We've pretty much got everything. Yeah, so pretty happy with that. And the units, it's not like a token amount here for some of these units. They're all bulked out to pretty decent strength as well. So it's a good representation of each of the unit types, which I was quite happy with as well. With the remaining points, I've then gone for the Imperial Knight. So I'll just push this one to the side and bring in the Imperial Knight's Codex. So for the Imperial Knights, obviously wanted to go for a theme that was going to match the Skitarii Army just here, the Mars colour scheme. So originally that was this, it still is, I think, my favourite colour scheme here. I think James may well be painting up a couple of knights for this colour scheme, but I wanted it to match in with Skitarii, so I went for, not that one, it's one of these ones here. This one, Greven, Ferus Maximus, pretty much copied this colour scheme exactly. Nice Skitarii sort of had markings here, which just fitted in really nice. So that's the combination I've gone for. I'll bring the model in just a moment. But I think it just matches in nicely with the Skitarii Army. The same red being used on the tunics here I've used on this model, so it links in just nice. This is the model this army here is going to revolve around, so they're protecting it, supporting it. This thing is going to march forwards or defend, whatever the situation is, and then the Skitarii units just sort of flying around it, helping fulfill the mission. So how the knight goes in a game will be how the Skitarii army goes. If the knight's blown away first turn, it could be trouble for what's left. Or if the knight survives on, then that'll, for every turn this thing lives and does damage, is one step closer to victory, I think. So we'll turn up the options here. The model, here he is. He's huge. He's definitely is going to be a focal point for the army. And you see the reds here. See the red on here, and it matches in with the red of the cloaks of the Skitarii Rangers and Vanguard just there. So pretty happy with that. Nice focal point for the army. As I said, we'll zoom out a bit later, and then you'll see the whole army together. I've still not seen the whole army together yet either, so it'll be the first time for me as well. So how to take one of them, just one, in an army, in a Skitarii army or any Imperial army. So you can just take an Oathsworn detachment. So it's just one Lord of War, which is the Imperial Knight, and that's it. And you just add a detachment into your army, and that's it. So that's how I was able to take him. There's no bonuses for doing that. I'll just go over to the unit type. Originally I was going for a Knight Errant, 370 points. Just wasn't so keen on the thermal cannon, and then did like the Reaper Chainsaw though. Paladin, just didn't feel it really matched in with the Skitarii sort of theme. So Knight Warden is what I've gone for. It's only 5 points more. For that you get the Gatling, Avenger Gatling Cannon. That's 12 shots, strength 6 AP3 rending. Thought that's pretty cool. Seen it used against me in the Apocalypse game with the Imperium. James Atera had a very nice Imperial Knight he brought down with 2 of them, and it was pretty effective. Killed Sicarius, so it was pretty good. Just 6 hull points for this thing. 3 attacks, front armor is 13. It's got the 4+ invuln save shield that you choose what direction you want it to face. So loads of bonuses, very tough. And then well equipped here for close combat with the Reaper Chainsaw, which I've kept. The Avenger Gatling Cannon. And then with the spare points, I had a number of spare points at the end. The last of the points I'll cover in just a moment, but for this guy I've gone for the rocket system on top. It is the Storm Spear rocket pod. 3 shots, strength 8, AP3, just means it can fire. It's got another target it can shoot at and let off 3 shots of strength 8, AP3, which is pretty effective. So I think it's a gun platform. It's likely to survive for a good part of the game. And each turn it's alive, that weapon's chucking out those strength 8, AP3 shots. So I've gone for that. It just adds a bit more height, a bit more presence, a bit more intimidation factor when the opponent sees that you've bolted on an extra rocket system there as well. So there he is. Full painting tutorial for him is on the Plus channel. Actually, I have done a full painting tutorial for him. It's about 2 hours 50 minutes long, but I show you from start to finish how to paint an Imperial Knight. So every step of the way. The basing tutorial for it is actually on this channel, so you can watch that on there. But the actual painting of the model, including all the transfers, special effects, even doing the blood splatter here as well on the Reaper Chainsaw to show you how to do all of that, how to do the transfers, painting different parts, is all covered in that on the Plus channel. So Night Warden 375, and then added 40 points on top for the Storm Spear rocket launcher for him. That made the entire army come to 1830 points, and the last 20 points cover in just a moment. So Night Warden, multi-function for him, the same really as pretty much all the other Skitarii units, is shooting ability and close combat. So ability to shoot effectively with the Avenger Gatling cannon and the Storm Spear rocket pod on top, and then in combat just the Knight itself, and then also the Reaper Chainsaw with the D strength attacks as well. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So it's going to be an army similar to the Necrons in a way, with decent enough shooting, maybe not as durable, I think, but durable enough, decent shooting, and then definitely the ability to fight in combat as well. So it's an army that I can use. I was going to say it's not going to be a defensive army. It's going to be an army that can defend, and then as the opponent gets close, if they're being attacked by a superior assault-based army, then as the opponent gets close, it's going to be a counter-attacking army, and then also in other situations, an army that can move out to the middle of the table, do its fighting with shooting and combat, or if needed, if we're fighting against a very defensive force, then go out and attack at full strength and push out and assault. And I think they've got the ability to do it, to lay down covering fire as they move, and then to charge in and do some pretty good damage as well in close combat. So I'm going to take a look at the army in just a moment. The last 20 points is back here in the Skitarii Codex. 20 points spare. I was advised to take this, and got 20 points to do it. It's just over here in the artifacts. Around here somewhere. Here we go. So for 20 points you can take the Omniscient Mask. I've given it to the Princeps here for the Rostral because it's the larger unit, more attacks. The bearer of the Omniscient Mask has Zealot. So they're fearless now, which is very helpful. And then also Zealot as well. They're going to get to re-roll their attacks in the first round of combat. There's so many attacks for them. It just really enhances the unit for not very many points. 20 points isn't very much at all. You know, those kind of upgrades, you know, the whole unit gets an upgrade. You pay out for it, and the bigger your unit is, and the more cost effective, the more value it is for the points that you've spent. So Omniscient Mask, and that rounds the army off to 1850 points precisely, which I was very happy about indeed. So what we'll do now is I'm going to zoom out, and you get a view of the whole army, get a feel for how the whole army looks, and we'll talk a little bit about tactics as well. Alright, so that's the whole army there, laid out. So definitely the focal point here is the Imperial Knight, and then they're all designed to fight together. So you've got the battle maniple here, and then in amongst them the Imperial Knight taking a central position there visually and then tactically as well. He's fast enough, he's not 6-inch move, he's 12 inches, so he can move quickly. Other units are keeping up hopefully pretty effectively as well. So different roles here, they're all pretty much all of them able to fight in close combat and then shoot as well. Some more geared towards one or the other. But here with the Honor Guard Dune Crawlers, so anti-fly, sort of deny the skies here with those, nice and tough. Close combat ability of them as well, nice tough and durable unit, expecting them to try and survive to the end of the game along with him. If these two units here are alive, then it should go pretty well for Skitarii. Scouting unit here, different role for them, just moving quickly around the table. Counter-attacking close combat units here, nice speed with them, tons of attacks, ability to take on any type of unit in close combat, massed infantry hordes, Terminator Space Marines, vehicles of any type, monstrous creatures, sort of a multi ability for those two, and then more than this unit here being more effective. Then some fire support units here, and then mopping up duty in combat as well for the Vanguard, and then the Rangers as well. It's not the biggest army, it's not the smallest, it's sort of one of those medium armies in between, similar to Necrons in a way, as I've mentioned already before. I think their shooting ability can be pretty deadly. I think it'd be a nice flexible army, and I think if they fight together, stick together in a game, then they should be a tough army. They'll be a tough army to attack, I think. It'll be hard to try and wipe them out with an aggressive army. And then they'll be pretty nasty on the offensive as well. To try and resist them as they advance, I think, will be difficult also, but definitely they have a point to prove in the future battle reports ahead. But very excited. They're 1850 points at full strength now. Imperial Knight's done. That's what's kept me back from finishing this army off, but finally the big project is finished and it's just rounded off the whole army just there. So that's the complete army. Painting tutorials, as I've mentioned, regular Skitarii painting tutorial on the channel here. Basing tutorial for the grey colour scheme is on this channel also. And then if you want to get more into Skitarii, then go over onto the Plus channel. There's an in-depth painting tutorial for the Honour Guard Dreamcrawler, and also the Imperial Knight is available there as well. There'll be the Grand Strategies video for Skitarii, and then all of these units now are also in the Advanced Tactica series as well. I go into specific details on each of the units and take a look at the different options and tactics for them as well. There it is. Leave your comments and feedback what you think of this army. Maybe make your predictions about it, how well you think it will do, and against different army types, and then also your predictions, and then what changes maybe you'd make. If you're a Skitarii player, if you give it a rating, what you think, how good you think it is, and then all that feedback. You can share your battlefield experience as well, hints and tips, and then other Skitarii players or ones that may want to collect, they can look at that information and learn from your experience. But there it is. That's the army overview and Tactica for Skitarii and the Imperial Knight. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.